Hi everyone, Bill Sheridan with the Maryland Association of CPAs and the Business Learning Institute. And some big news for us here in Maryland. Our own Kimberly Ellison-Taylor is in line to become the nation's top CPA volunteer next year. Kimberly is former chair of the AICPA's Board of Directors. She is also the Global Accounting Strategy Director at Oracle's Financial Services Industry Group. She was elected vice chair of the American Institute of CPAs at the AICPA's Fall 2015 Governing Council meeting in Hawaii. That means a year from now, she will take over as AICPA chair, and that will make her the first CPA from Maryland to hold the top volunteer position in the profession. I had a chance to speak with Kimberly in Hawaii, both about her agenda and about the challenges and opportunities facing the profession. Here's what she had to say.
In the third grade in the inner city of Baltimore, I went to William Penderhughes Elementary School, and someone came to our school and spoke about careers. And they went through all the usual careers, doctor, lawyer, engineer, and when they got to CPA, they said, well, CPAs are the ones who manage the money. And in my mind, I said, that's it. That's what I want to do when I get big, when I grow up. That's what I want to focus on. And so the decisions that I've made from that point to now have all been centered around my desire to be a CPA. And so no matter where I've been or what I've wanted to do, it's always been centered around all of the effective decision making, all of the assimilation of data, all of the value, the respect that you get when you're a CPA. Now, of course, when you're a child, you don't understand all of those additional benefits. You understand the part that really resonates with your mind. And so that has shaped my passion for talent development. I think it's what's led me to really be active in the Maryland Association of CPAs new and young professional organization, because it's so important to tap into people's dreams very early, to inspire and help them cultivate their aspirations and give them role models. And so by working with Tom Hood from MACPA, I was able to maintain my commitment, although I moved through different segments of our profession. And so I think that shapes who I am today. It makes me very passionate about going into underrepresented communities and helping young people understand that there are different options and there are different things that they can do in order to manifest their goals. I just see so much opportunity, so many different things that our young people will do. They'll dream of things that we never could have thought of. In 5 years, they'll be doing things and leading organizations faster than we even could think of it today. So in my mind, if I have the opportunity to be stewards and stakeholders in their success and help them achieve their dreams and give them a lift and push them forward, I think that's my obligation to do. I think I have a responsibility because someone did that for me. Absolutely. So I've had an amazing opportunity to work with leaders both older than me and younger than me, because I think we can recognize mentorship up and what you may perceive to be as maybe lower than you in the organization. I think we just have to be listening posts for mentorship and guidance. We can learn from every and anyone, and so we should leave ourselves open to all of the opportunities to just get new knowledge and information. So I've always kind of looked at those leaders and said, wow, what helped them be so great and so amazing? Can I be that amazing? And so I call it their recipe. And so everyone's got a recipe for what they perceive their own personal path to success is. But I have found in studying the various leaders, regardless of whether they were older or younger or the same age as I, that there are core ingredients that do not change. Now, like with any recipe, there's a sprinkling of this, there's a liberal dose of that. It may change from time to time. Sometimes you do a substitute for an ingredient because you didn't have it. It's just like when you're cooking at home. And so I would call what I've now cultivated in my mind KET's ABCs. And KET's ABCs are basically what consists of my own recipe. It's attitude, aptitude, and appearance. And so I think that's been so important, that having a great attitude and a great perspective, can do. If it can be done, hey, I can do it. I mean, it's got to be a way to figure it out. And so that's always been my perspective, and it's always been my perspective that we should live a life of gratitude and be humble, and to whom much is given, much is required. I live like that. That is what I would hope that I could leave as a lasting impression on people, that my attitude is going to help them. The other thing is aptitude. CPAs have a lifelong commitment to learning, and I have absolutely lived and breathed that to my soul. I graduated valedictorian from my high school, and I've gone on to get several different degrees, and I'm in the midst of reading books. It's not always formal learning, but there's a mechanism to make sure that we're not stagnating and that we're continuing to grow and learn and open ourselves up to new possibilities. From an appearance perspective, that's certainly guarding our brand and making sure that how we want to be perceived, we're actually perceived. And so I spend some time talking about those three things, and I'll call that part the AAA plan, because you got to make sure that you have those things in place. Be bold, believe, be brave. There are so many times, regardless of your aspiration, but certainly on the path to being a CPA, where it's not a layup. It's not going to be something that tomorrow someone's going to hand it to you. You're going to have to work hard. And I went to school for 2 years, and everyone around me, I was a technology professional going to school to be a CPA. And so it was like during Y2K planning and preparation, it was during the .com era. There were so many times where people were like, why are you doing this? I was working at NASA, I worked at Motorola, I've had some phenomenal technology experiences, but yet in my heart, I still wanted to be a CPA, and I never gave up the 8-year-old dream that I wanted to be a CPA. So I just stuck to it, and although there were times where I wanted to go out, I just knew that the other times would come. When my dad and mom would say, you know, you gotta pay your dues, you have to work hard, I just knew that paying those dues, working hard would pay off in the long run, and as I would say it certainly has. And so when I think about believing, if you don't believe in your dream, you know, you can't really give your dream to someone else to be the caretaker of. No one else can be, you can't delegate your dream. You have to hold it, nurture it, cultivate it, surround yourself with people who are also going to validate. And when it's hard and you're falling asleep and you're at your desk and you're like, oh my gosh, I should just do something else. Well, if it was easy, everyone else would be doing it. And so be bold, be brave, believe just says focus, be relentless in the pursuit of your aspirations. Having compassion, competency, basically looking at the collaboration and communication of what it takes to work in an environment. I think those, and being committed, all of those are very important. Being committed says if you're a student and you're used to being a rock star, you get A's and everything, but maybe intermediate, and we all know intermediate can be a game changer. Getting a B doesn't mean you should change your path. Even if you had to, for some people it's really difficult, take it over. Don't say, this isn't for me. Maybe I'm not cut out for it. I'm sure that you are absolutely cut out for it. Maybe just a course that wasn't as easily coming to you as others. And when I talk about, competency, it's focusing, doing it over and over and over. And when I look at a lot of the sports athletes and their examples, they're not good by mistake. They're good because it's in muscle memory. And so our pursuit of excellence, our pursuit to be better every single day means we have to focus on competency. And it means that you just can't take it for granted and just say, I'm gonna wing it. You can't wing it. You've gotta put the time and preparation in. And so I would say you can't be stressed, be prepared. And so then when I talk about compassion, I wanna pay it forward. That's what's shaping my life perspective. Someone did it for me. Tom Hood is doing it for youth and students and generations across the board, all 4 generations. AICPA is a role model for all of our members. I look at that example. It's a phenomenal example. And I want to do that also. I want someone to look at me and say, wow, she grew up in the inner city. She did it. She was a technology professional, a non-traditional student. She went to school for 2 years. She worked hard. I can do it too. And so that's why I do a lot of community service, because I know that in giving, I always get. And so I've met people and I've had opportunities to do amazing things that even at a young point in my career, maybe professionally I'm not doing it, but inside community service organizations, there's always a need to do program development. There's always a need to articulate a message. There's always a need to go out and fundraise. There's always a need to persuade. There's always a need to pursue volunteers. Think about how transferable those skills are for me. So although I've been 30 for my 15th year, I feel a lot older because of all of the amazing community service opportunities I've had. It is an amazing feeling, especially because we know, living in Maryland, how hardworking our members are. We know all the advocacy work, all of the work we do with continuing education, all of the things we've done for recruitment, and we have now, with one of our members, being me, moving up to help lead the organization at the professional and national level. It just really showcases that Maryland's getting it right when it comes to new young professionals, and that hopefully, as a person who's come up through state society, I'll be able to give that perspective. And each one of our chairs, and I'm looking forward to working with Tim Christian. He is absolutely amazing, just like all of our board members. It has been such a learning experience working that close with that many people who are doing phenomenal things in their own environment. But I will take all of those things and use what Maryland has given me as a foundation, and hopefully go around and talk about how we can do better, we can connect, protect, and achieve for all of our members, not just in public practice, but business and industry, government, nonprofit, our educator community. There are so many different segments that we can bring together, and being there on the front line in Maryland, I can see how we've done it, and I'll be able to look at best practices and lessons learned. And so I can't thank AICPA enough for what they've done for me. I'm very proud to represent Maryland membership, and so I'm looking forward to doing phenomenal things with Barry Melanson and the AICPA team, and then in turn taking that out and spreading it across all of our jurisdictions in the United States and internationally. We've been doing really great work as it relates to providing resources for members. And I think that we will continue to do that. We're looking at talent pipeline. We're looking at core things that are important to the CPA. We're also going to be looking across what we can do across the entire ecosystem and bringing more people to the table. So if they're econ, accounting, finance, marketing, we're all in the value chain of giving businesses and corporations the benefits of our time, talent, and treasure. So I'm hoping at AICPA we will continue to do exactly that, and we'll do it in a broader way. We'll have more advocacy, we'll add more relevance. Members will see easily the value that we bring from an AICPA perspective, and that we'll also be able to attract and recruit and reclaim all of our members to the same path of the whole value chain. Because there's a lot that we can do, and I think sometimes people think of us in very narrow fashions. Well, we're working across all aspects, and so I think that will be amazing, and I'm looking forward to continuing that great work, because some of the best strategists you will ever find anywhere are within AICPA, and they have already been doing the thinking about what's next. How do we continue to do even better? How do we evolve and become whatever the next generation is going to need? How do we ensure that the relevancy we have today will be there and exist 20 years from now? Those things have already been, thought about. And so the seeds will be sown, and we'll reap the harvest for future future generations. And so I'm looking forward to that. Join your state society. get involved with AICPA. At the state society level, we have a number of committees and volunteer opportunities. At the AICPA level, if they have an interest in an area, they can certainly send it in and say they're willing to be a volunteer. There's no shortage of volunteer opportunities. Now, it may not be even a formal volunteer role because there are a number of people based on their competencies and what they've done in their own personal professional lives that we may have to put in a role first, but that certainly doesn't mean that they wouldn't accept the help. I truly believe that if you're willing to learn and you're willing to lend your talents, that your state society is the first stop, because that's on the ground training, it's grassroots, you really understand the inner workings of how you fit into the overall profession, and regardless of whether you move from one segment to another, it's an anchor for young people in their careers, and the networking possibilities are endless. It's just amazing what you could accomplish from a state society perspective. And certainly if you want a broader view across, you may move to another state, AICPA is an anchor across the states. Within your local environment, your state society will provide that anchor for you. Helping others, talent, working with people is like my caffeine of choice. And as people would generally get tired as the day goes on, I get more energized because the energy that I feel from people, the desire to help nurture and cultivate and inspire them is in turn giving me something back in return. And so I want to pay it forward. And I want to be an example for other people to say, if I can do it, I know they can do it.